What if I told you that everything you've ever known about the creation of Eve might be based on a monumental mistranslation? For centuries, the idea that Eve was created from Adam's rib has been ingrained in our understanding of the Bible, of gender, and of power. But what if this belief is not the full story? What if the true meaning, hidden in the very language of the Hebrew Bible, reveals something far more profound, a message of equality, partnership, and balance that has been buried by centuries of misinterpretation? Why has this misunderstanding persisted for so long? How has it shaped the way we see the roles of men and women in society? And more importantly, how has it altered the way we understand the sacred relationship between the feminine and the masculine? The story of Eve's creation is not just an ancient tale. It's a cornerstone of theology, culture, and identity, one that has influenced everything from laws to traditions to personal beliefs. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the original Hebrew text of Genesis 2:21-22 and uncover the truth behind the mistranslation of the word rib. You'll learn why the term tsela, used to describe the creation of Eve, doesn't mean rib at all. In fact, it speaks of something far more significant, an integral side, a structural balance, a divine symmetry. This isn't just about correcting a historical error. It's about reclaiming the divine blueprint for equality and partnership that was always meant to be. This revelation will change everything you thought you knew about gender and creation. Imagine a world where the roles of men and women are not defined by dominance and submission, but by harmony and mutual respect. Are we ready to restore that balance? Join me as we uncover the truth, one word at a time. Let's explore together the powerful message that has been hidden in plain sight for so long. And as we journey through this ancient mystery, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think this means for us today? Do you believe we've been misled? Stay tuned, and let's uncover the truth together. In the beginning, there was a story passed down through generations, a story of how Eve, the first woman, was created from Adam's rib. A simple story, a story that painted Eve as secondary, derived from a small bone, and by extension, implied that her role was to support Adam, to stand behind him rather than beside him. But what if this story, this understanding, was based on something much deeper than what we've been taught? What if the word we have all been using, rib, was a mistake? A mistranslation that has misled us for centuries. The key to unlocking this mystery lies in the original Hebrew text of Genesis chapter 2:21-22. The word that is traditionally translated as rib is tsela. But here's the truth. Tsela doesn't mean rib at all. Instead, it means side, as in a side or a part of a structure, not a small bone. It's the difference between a fragment and a whole. A rib implies something small, disposable even, but a side implies something whole, something integral. In Exodus 25:12, when describing the Ark of the Covenant, the word tsela is used to refer to the sides of the Ark, not to any part of a body, but to a vital part of a sacred structure. Similarly, in 1 Kings 6:5, the word is used to describe side chambers built into the walls of Solomon's temple. Tsela refers to space, structure, balance, and symmetry. It's a part of something greater. The word speaks of wholeness, not separation. Now imagine if we had understood this from the very beginning. Imagine if Eve's creation was seen not as a derivative act, something less than Adam, but as the creation of a counterpart, an equal, one formed from his side, from his essence, as a divine partner. This isn't a small change in language. It's a profound shift in how we view the relationship between men and women, not just in the Bible, but in all of human history. What we've missed with this mistranslation is the story of sacred symmetry. For centuries, we've misunderstood Eve's role. We've seen her as secondary, a part of Adam, but never truly his equal. But the Hebrew text reveals something different. Eve was not taken from Adam's rib. She was taken from his side, created as his equal, to stand beside him, not beneath him. This simple shift in translation reveals a powerful truth. Eve was not an afterthought, nor was she made to be subservient to Adam. She was created to be his partner, equally important, equally powerful. The implications of this are far-reaching. For centuries, patriarchal societies have used the translation of rib to reinforce gender hierarchies, teaching that women are less than men, that they were created from something small, from a bone, and thus are somehow smaller in worth, in power, in purpose. But when we understand the true meaning of tsela, when we see that Eve was created from Adam's side, we are reminded of the divine balance in creation. We are reminded that men and women were made to be partners, equals in every sense, meant to walk side by side in mutual respect and love. Consider the profound shift that could occur in our world if we embraced this understanding. What if, instead of seeing women as secondary or derivative, we saw them as equal, co-creators alongside men, divinely chosen to work together in harmony? What if we understood that Eve was created from Adam's side, meaning that the feminine is as essential to the whole as the masculine? In every facet of life, from relationships to society to the way we approach leadership and power, the idea of balance, symmetry, and partnership could begin to replace the outdated narratives of domination and hierarchy. Take a moment to think about how this misinterpretation has affected the world we live in. How many times have we been told that women are less than men, that their worth is tied to their relationship with men, that they are not as capable, as intelligent, as worthy? How often have we witnessed women being pushed to the background, relegated to supporting roles, while men take the lead? These ideas didn't emerge from nowhere. They were shaped by the mistranslation of a single word. And yet, despite the centuries of hurt and inequality, the truth has always been right there, waiting for us to rediscover it. Imagine how different our world could be if we saw the story of Eve through the lens of true partnership, equality, and balance. Imagine a society where women and men stood side by side, equal in every way, where each gender brought its unique strengths and qualities to the table, without one overshadowing the other. The power of this idea is immense, and it's not just a theoretical shift. It's a spiritual and cultural shift that could restore balance in our homes, our communities, and our world. This brings us to a deeper question. Why has this mistranslation persisted for so long? Why have we allowed this misunderstanding to shape our culture, our theology, and our society for centuries? The answer, I believe, lies in the power of language. Language shapes how we see the world. Words carry meaning, but they also carry power. The words we use to describe ourselves and each other shape our identities, our beliefs, and our behaviors. And when those words are mistranslated or misunderstood, the consequences can be profound. But here's the beautiful truth. We have the power to change this. By revisiting the original Hebrew text, by understanding the true meaning of words like tsela, we can begin to rebuild a more balanced and equitable understanding of gender. We can reclaim the original divine blueprint that was meant to guide us toward harmony and partnership. And this isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's a deeply spiritual one. It's about restoring the sacred balance that was always intended for humanity. This isn't just about correcting a historical mistake. It's about healing the wounds of inequality that have persisted for far too long. It's about breaking free from the chains of patriarchal thinking and embracing the truth that both men and women were created in the image of God, equal in value, equal in purpose, and equal in their divine calling. When we recognize the power of this truth, we begin to heal. We begin to restore the divine balance that was always meant to be. And in doing so, we create a world that is more just, more compassionate, and more loving. A world where everyone, regardless of gender, can live as equals, partners in the sacred task of co-creating a better future. Let this message of balance, of equality, and of mutual respect be a healing balm for the wounds of the past. Let us embrace the truth of our shared humanity, standing side by side as we were always meant to be. Imagine for a moment the divine symmetry of creation. The story of Eve, traditionally told as one of origin from Adam's rib, has been viewed as an act of separation, a creation of a lesser counterpart. But what if we understood it differently? What if the story of Eve wasn't one of subordination, but one of balance, equality, and divine partnership? What if the very foundation of gender roles, the understanding of male and female, had been misunderstood for millennia? This is not just a theological debate. It is a profound question that touches on the very heart of who we are as human beings. When we explore the idea that Eve was created not from Adam's rib, but from his side, the message changes entirely. It's not just a linguistic shift, it's a spiritual revelation. Tsela, the Hebrew word in Genesis 2:21-22, which has been translated as rib, actually refers to the side of Adam. This small change in translation unlocks a truth that was always there, waiting to be rediscovered. Eve was created from Adam's side, as his equal, as his counterpart, not from a small, insignificant part of his body, but from his very being. Consider the significance of this change. To say that Eve was created from Adam's rib is to suggest that she is secondary, a mere afterthought, formed from a small, expendable part of him. But to say that she was created from his side, that speaks of unity, that speaks of partnership. That speaks of two beings equally important, equally capable, and equally needed. It's not an afterthought, it's the divine design, a design of balance where Adam and Eve are both integral to the creation of the world, standing side by side, partners in the divine purpose of life. This subtle shift in understanding has profound implications. For centuries, religious and societal structures have used the mistranslation of rib to justify patriarchal beliefs, teaching that women are somehow lesser than men. The idea that Eve was created from Adam's rib has been used to reinforce the notion that women are secondary, less significant, and subordinate. But when we recognize that Eve was created from Adam's side, we begin to see the true purpose of her creation, to stand with him, to complement him, and to share in the divine work of creation. She is not less than him. She is equal to him. She was created as his counterpart, not his servant. This reimagining of the creation story invites us to reconsider our own assumptions about gender and power. For too long, the idea of hierarchy has dominated our understanding of relationships between men and women. But when we read Genesis with fresh eyes, we see a story not of hierarchy, but of mutuality. This is not a story of dominance and submission. This is a story of equality, balance, and partnership. Adam and Eve were meant to stand side by side, working together to fulfill their divine calling. What does this mean for us today? It means that we must challenge the narratives that have shaped our societies and our personal beliefs. It means that we must question the assumptions that we've inherited from generations past. And it means that we must embrace a new vision of partnership, one where men and women stand together as equals, each bringing their unique strengths and qualities to the table. This is a vision of mutual respect, of shared responsibility, and of divine balance. The effects of this shift in understanding extend far beyond the realm of theology. The way we view men and women in society is deeply influenced by the way we understand their roles in creation. When we accept the idea that Eve was created from Adam's side, we begin to see women not as subordinate, but as equals. We begin to see them as partners, as co-creators, and as equal participants in the divine task of shaping the world. This is not just about correcting a mistranslation. This is about restoring a lost balance, a balance that is essential for a just and equitable society. The impact of this change in understanding is also deeply personal. It challenges each of us to reconsider our own beliefs about gender, about power, and about the roles that we play in our relationships. It calls us to reevaluate the ways in which we view ourselves and others. When we see men and women as equals, partners in the divine purpose of creation, we begin to build relationships that are rooted in respect, trust, and mutual support. This is the kind of relationship that leads to healing. Healing of the divisions that have been created by centuries of patriarchal thinking, healing of the wounds that have been inflicted by inequality, and healing of the hearts that have been broken by the lie of subordination. It is not just a personal healing, but a collective one. When we begin to see men and women as equals, we begin to create a society that reflects that truth. We begin to build institutions that honor the dignity and worth of every person, regardless of gender. We begin to dismantle the systems of oppression that have been built on the false belief that one gender is superior to the other. And we begin to create a world where the sacred balance between the feminine and the masculine is restored. This vision of equality and partnership is not just a distant hope. It is a reality that is within our reach. It is a reality that begins with each of us. It begins with us acknowledging the truth that Eve was created from Adam's side, not from his rib, but from his equal. It begins with us embracing the divine blueprint of balance, mutual respect, and partnership. And it begins with us living that truth every day in our relationships, in our communities, and in the world. When we see Eve as equal to Adam, we begin to restore the sacred balance of creation. We begin to heal the wounds of inequality and create a world that reflects the divine harmony that was always meant to be. We begin to live as partners, as equals, co-creators in the divine task of shaping a more just and compassionate world. The choice is ours. We can continue to live in the shadows of mistranslation, perpetuating the lies of inequality and subordination. Or we can choose to live in the light of truth, embracing the divine vision of partnership and equality that has always been intended for us. The path to healing, to restoration, and to a more just and compassionate world begins with us. It begins with us choosing to stand side by side as equals, as partners, as co-creators in the divine purpose of life. Let us choose to embrace the truth. Let us choose to live in balance. Let us choose to restore the sacred harmony between the feminine and the masculine. Let us choose to stand side by side as partners in the divine task of creating a world that reflects the truth of who we are and what we are meant to be. The journey starts now. When we look at the world today, we can see the ripples of imbalance everywhere, disparities between men and women, between genders, power struggles, and systems that uphold inequality. These imbalances have been ingrained for centuries, not just in culture, but in the very teachings that have shaped our beliefs, our communities, and our relationships. Yet, when we take a closer look at the Bible and the creation story, a revelation is waiting to be rediscovered, a truth that has been lost beneath the weight of centuries of misinterpretation. We've come to believe that Eve was created from Adam's rib, a small, seemingly insignificant part of him. This narrative has been used to justify the unequal treatment of women for generations, reinforcing the idea that women are secondary to men. But what if this wasn't the original message at all? What if the word rib, a term that has shaped the story of humanity, was the result of a mistranslation leading us down a path of misunderstanding? The truth is, the Hebrew word tsela, used in Genesis chapter 21:22, does not mean rib. It means side, a vital, essential part of Adam, not a small, disposable bone. Eve wasn't formed from Adam's rib, she was created from his side, from his essence, equal to him, meant to stand beside him, not beneath him. This simple shift in understanding changes everything. It reveals a truth that was buried in plain sight. The divine creation story was always one of balance, of symmetry, of equality. Adam and Eve were created as equals, side by side, partners in the divine task of creation. And this wasn't just a theological concept meant for ancient times. It is a principle that we can apply today in our relationships, our societies, and our world. But how do we restore this balance? How do we reclaim this understanding that has been overshadowed by centuries of patriarchal interpretations? The answer lies in revisiting the language, the words themselves. When we start with the truth in Genesis that Eve was created from Adam's side, we begin to see a divine design of mutual respect and equality. We are called to live that truth, not just in our hearts, but in our lives. This understanding demands that we approach gender, power, and relationships with a new perspective, one that honors the sacred partnership between men and women. Reclaiming this truth is not just about understanding the past, but about healing the wounds that have been inflicted by centuries of inequality. It is about recognizing that the divine balance between the feminine and masculine is essential for the flourishing of humanity. For too long, women have been made to feel inferior, secondary, lesser. But the Bible doesn't support that view. The creation of Eve from Adam's side shows that women are not afterthoughts. They are not derivatives of men. They are equal co-creators, just as integral to the divine purpose as men. In our modern world, where we still struggle with gender inequality, this truth is more important than ever. It is a reminder that both men and women were created in the image of God, equal in value, equal in purpose. This understanding calls us to challenge the status quo, to dismantle the systems that perpetuate inequality, and to build a new world, one where men and women stand together as partners, equal in every sense. But this isn't just about women's empowerment. It's about healing and restoring balance for both genders. The mistranslation of tsela has not only affected women, it has affected men too. Men have been burdened with the idea that they must dominate, that their role is to lead and control. They've been told that power is a zero-sum game, that one must be above while the other must be below. But the truth of Genesis shows us that power is not about domination. It's about partnership. It's about mutual support, love, and respect. When men and women stand together, side by side, they complement each other. They bring balance to the world. Reclaiming the original meaning of Eve's creation is a step toward creating a world where true equality reigns. It is a call to stop seeing women as supporting roles, but as full partners, equal participants in all spheres of life: leadership, creativity, spirituality, and community. When we restore the sacred balance between the masculine and the feminine, we begin to see the world as it was always meant to be: harmonious, balanced, full of divine purpose. But how do we live this truth in our daily lives? It starts with small steps, challenging our own biases, recognizing the inherent worth of both genders, and fostering environments of equality in our homes, workplaces, and communities. It means celebrating the gifts that both men and women bring to the world, recognizing that these gifts are not divided by gender, but are part of the divine design. It means raising our children with the understanding that they are equal partners in life, that both their masculinity and femininity are essential to who they are. In relationships, it means creating partnerships based on mutual respect, where both individuals contribute equally, where love and support are given freely, and where power is shared, not hoarded. It means honoring each other's strengths, acknowledging each other's weaknesses, and working together to build a life that reflects the divine balance of creation. It is time for us to reclaim this truth, not just as a theological principle, but as a practical guide for living. It is time to reject the false narratives of domination and submission and to embrace the divine vision of partnership and equality. This is not a call to create a world where one gender is in charge, but a world where both genders are respected, loved, and valued equally. We are standing at a crossroads, and the choice is ours. Do we continue to live in the shadow of misinterpretation, reinforcing the broken systems of inequality, or do we choose to live in the light of truth, embracing the sacred balance between the feminine and the masculine and creating a world of equality, love, and mutual respect? The journey to healing, to restoration, and to a more just and compassionate world begins with each of us. It begins with us understanding that Eve was created from Adam's side, not his rib, and that the divine plan was always one of equality and partnership. It begins with us choosing to live this truth every day, in our relationships, in our communities, and in the world. The time to act is now. Let us reclaim the divine vision of partnership. Let us restore the balance and let us create a world where all people, regardless of gender, can stand side by side in the shared task of co-creating a better, more just world. As we come to the end of this journey, I want to leave you with a powerful truth that has the potential to transform not only how you see yourself, but how you see the world and the people around you. For centuries, we have lived with a distorted version of the creation story, one that has reinforced inequality, one that has kept women in the shadows and men in positions of dominance. But now, through the lens of truth, we are beginning to uncover the divine balance that has always been there, patiently waiting for us to rediscover it. Eve was never meant to be secondary, never meant to be a mere afterthought. She was created from Adam's side, equal, integral, and meant to stand beside him, not beneath him. This new understanding of the creation story is not just a theological concept, it's a truth that can heal the wounds of inequality that have been inflicted upon generations of women. It's a message that can restore balance in a world that has been fractured by centuries of patriarchal thinking. But more than that, it is a call to action. It is a call to live in partnership, in equality, in mutual respect, not just between men and women, but in every area of our lives. This isn't just about gender equality. It's about understanding our shared humanity, recognizing the divine image within each of us, and embracing the truth that we were all created to be equal, to work together in harmony, and to build a world of love and justice. If this message resonates with you, if it has touched your heart and awakened something deep within you, I invite you to show your support. Your encouragement, whether through a like, a subscription, or a comment, means the world to me. It's not just about the numbers. It's about knowing that this message is reaching the right people, that the light is spreading, and that together we are building a community rooted in truth, love, and justice. In a world filled with noise, it is so easy to get lost in the chaos, to feel like our voices don't matter. But when we come together, when we share the truth, when we uplift each other, we create a space where healing can happen. So, if you believe in the power of these messages, if you believe in the power of reclaiming the truth, I ask you to share this video, to comment your thoughts, to engage with the community we are building here. Your voice matters. Your energy matters. Together, we can continue to spread this message of healing and equality to a world that so desperately needs it. This journey we are on is not an easy one. The road to healing, to restoring balance and equality, is long and filled with challenges. But each step we take brings us closer to a world where men and women stand side by side, equal in every way, creating a world of justice, compassion, and love. Each moment of understanding, each shift in perspective, each act of kindness brings us closer to that world. And it starts with us, It starts with you and me, choosing to live in alignment with the truth we have uncovered today. If this video has brought any light into your life, if it has helped you see the divine balance that was always intended, I ask you to join me in this journey. Your support, whether through a simple like or a heartfelt comment, makes all the difference. If you have found healing in these words, if they have sparked a change within you, please take a moment to share that energy. When we lift each other up, when we share this truth, we create ripples that can reach far and wide, bringing healing and restoration to a world that is yearning for it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for listening, and for engaging in this beautiful journey of truth and transformation. Every step we take together is a step toward healing, toward justice, and toward the divine balance that we were always meant to experience. Your energy, your presence, and your support mean more than words can express. Let's continue this journey together, spreading love, sharing truth, and living in harmony with the divine balance that was always meant to be. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Your heart, your energy, and your support are what make this work possible. Let's continue to stand side by side, creating a world of equality, justice, and love for all.